If you've ever walked into an Ulta or a drugstore, walked on over to a little brand display and just looked at what they had and became completely overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that's being presented and just confused about what's good and what's not, because the makeup industry relies so much on creating new products that make you feel like you need them, this is the next best thing. Some brands end up with so many products and you're just like, what is actually good here and what is just a flop? So one of those brands I feel like is NYX Cosmetics. They have so many products and are constantly launching new ones. So I wanted to do a best and worst video to sort of remove that confusion a little bit. And next time you see NYX in store, you'll know what to avoid and what to get, because NYX has some of my absolute favorite drugstore products, but they also have some really bad ones. So I'm gonna go over everything in today's video and let's just go ahead and get started. To get started, I'm gonna talk about their concealer because I'm actually gonna be using this under foundation today. So this is the NYX HD Studio Concealer. This has been around for quite some time. It's definitely not one of their newer products. I tried this like years and years and years ago in just like the regular formula that's not a color correcting shade, and it is pretty good as a concealer. It's definitely lighter coverage than you would expect. So in terms of it being a great under eye concealer, I definitely don't think that is the case. But I do have the green shade here. They sell other corrector shades like yellow and purple. So in terms of a corrector, I think it does the job well because it performs nicely on the face other than like the under eye. So I'm gonna use this just as I would a normal corrector. Anywhere I want to tone down a little bit of redness, some blemishes over here. It is a really pigmented like minty green as well, so if you need some just like really heavy duty redness help, I think this is a pretty good product for that kind of purpose. I'm just gonna blend this out with a sponge, and you should be able to see when I'm blending it out. It's more of like a light medium coverage, like it's not gonna give you a lot of heaviness. I think this one is a good contender for mixing into moisturizer as well, or using as a corrector. But if you're looking for a great drugstore concealer for under the eyes, I don't think this one from NYX is really going to be your best pick. For base products, I have two here I want to talk about. First is the Can't Stop, Won't Stop Full Coverage Foundation. This has been in a lot of my favorite foundation videos, so you might already know that I do really love this formula. The one con is the little nozzle gets clogged. That's why mine looks just so gross right now. But the shade range is really great for fair skin if you have like more of a neutral, warm, or olive undertone. This is ultra matte. It dries down quickly. It's like a really high performing foundation. It's definitely not one of those like satin dewy everyday type of look, which I always give that disclaimer of like, if you like matte full coverage, you would like this. It's a little finicky to apply, but it lasts so well. But if you don't like those types of finishes, I would say this is not going to be your favorite thing. But I do have another base product from them, which is the Bare With Me Blurring Tint Foundation. I did a full review on this and didn't love it, but I kind of want to give it another chance and just see if I can get it to work. So this is one of my favorite foundations from them, but we're going to give this one another shot. This is the shade Fair, and it just comes in this little squeezy tube. Thinking maybe the first time I used a little bit too much product or something. So this time I'm gonna start with a little bit and just make sure to really work it in. I like how it looked and applied, I believe at first, but the wear time, it just like slipped around a lot. Yeah, like it looks really good on the skin, but I'm pretty sure it does not wear well. I'm remembering another reason why I didn't like this as well is I believe at the time when I tried it, I had a lot of dry skin going on, like some healing blemishes, and it did not look good over dry skin at all. I'm noticing it like a little bit on my nose right now. So this is really light feeling on the skin, and it does look relatively smooth. Like I don't really have a lot of dry skin going on, so I don't feel like I noticed it looking as poorly as it did the first couple times I tried it. The shade is definitely nice and fair. It actually looks a lot lighter on the skin versus in the bottle. Like, can you believe that's the same shade? I believe this is one of the lightest shades, if not the lightest, so maybe just be aware of that. For these under eye circles, the NYX Bare With Me Concealer Serum. People raved about this when it came out, and a lot of people still like it. My first problem is the shade. This is like a really weird like beigey gray almost, and it's the shade Light. I think the fair shade looked even more pink. This is super moisturizing and dewy, so if you have problems with your under eyes creasing or just any of that sort of like crinkly stuff under the eyes, I don't think you're gonna love this. It's just so dewy. It creases a lot on me. Even on the face, I just find it a bit heavy and a bit too dewy. So if you have that dry skin, maybe, but if you have normal to oily skin, I don't think this is gonna be your favorite product from the brand. I'm just gonna try a little bit of this with my finger and see. I just feel like it's gonna be too dark for this foundation. I mean, the fact that it is a bit dark is kind of acting as like a corrector. It doesn't look horrible, right? It's just not something that wears well on me. It is more of a medium coverage, by the way. This is for sure too dark for this foundation, so I'm gonna add a little bit of a light concealer. I'm gonna use this Rose Ink one. I'm also pretty sure I did really like this concealer at first before I realized it was what was creasing my under eyes and not necessarily a powder. It's not horrible by any means, it's just not the most crease-proof product, so I would say more dry skin would definitely like that. Now with that concealer, I feel like they even things out a lot better. Let's talk about some of the powders that NYX offers. One is classic from them, the HD Finishing Powder. This is a pressed powder. This is a powder that has silicone in it, so it gives you that really smoothing, sort of blurring look, and I believe that's why it's called HD, because it gives you like a nice filtered effect. I think this is nice for setting the face. They also have a green one, a yellow one, or just this translucent one. Now, if you prefer a powder with more oil controlling properties, then this is a newer one. Mine is like totally worn off because I really love this one. The Can't Stop Won't Stop mattifying powder. You can tell I have hit pan on this. So the difference between these two is this one does have silicone in it as well, but it's a little bit further down on the ingredient list, and instead it has some rice starch, which is really good at oil controlling. So this one maybe if you're a little bit more oily, and then this one if you have that more normal to dry skin, you want like a super smooth look. So I'm going to actually use, I believe, this one for under my eyes, and then we'll use this one all over the face. I really like how they offer these translucent options. Great for fair skin because they have no color to them. My under eyes are dark today, woo-wee. So there's the HD one under the eyes. I think it looks really nice actually. And then I'm gonna take the Can't Stop Won't Stop powder, big fluffy brush, just to set down the rest of the face. I totally get why so many people on YouTube with pale skin self-tan. I mean, I used to a ton as well, especially on camera. Like you can see every single discoloration. Doing makeup for fair skin is definitely a lot more work and a little bit more strategic versus like when I have a self-tan on, I feel like I could just slap on makeup and it looks good, but really gotta put in the work to like color correct with this ultra fair skin. So let's talk about cheek products. The bronzers I've tried from NYX have all been pretty warm. I'm not sure if they still sell this shade, but I wanted to mention it because I have it. It's their Sweet Cheeks blush formula, which is a matte formula. This is the shade So Taupe, which is a really ultra cool toned like stone contour. If you need something that is just like straight up taupe, I think this formula is actually quite nice. It's a true matte. It's nice and soft and buildable. And for the price, like it's just a really decent formula if you need this kind of shade and it's hard to find it. But also just the blush shades they have in this one are nice as well. They have different finishes. I don't think they're all matte. It will say on the package which finish it is. This is one of those like real OG contour products. I'm not sure where I learned about this. It might have been Nikki Tutorials. I don't know, but it was like when I first started watching YouTube, I swear, is when I discovered this product, which is maybe why they don't sell it anymore. I'll have to check and link it below. For brows from NYX, I actually don't have this pencil on hand, but the micro brow pencil is one of my favorites. It's a super fine tip. Honestly performs like all of their high-end brow pencils, lasts a long time. I do have some brow gels and other brow products I want to talk about, but let me just go ahead and fill my brows in with a different pencil, and then we'll move on to that. NYX is one of those brands that offers a lot of brow products, but not all of them are great. So let me talk about first the NYX Tinted Brow Mascara, another one of their sort of just like classic products. This is the shade Blonde. This I don't love. It just doesn't give a lot of hold and the shade's warm. It's just kind of like meh, like I just don't feel like it does what I want it to. And then this is one of their newer products. You can sort of tell with like this is like HD makeup packaging, and then this is like a little bit more trendy. This is the Thick It Stick It Thickening Brow Mascara. This one they actually have a taupe shade in. This is a really thick sort of applicator. It's one of those that has all those little tiny like hairs in it, which I find just never lay right. This is another one that just doesn't give enough hold. Ends up looking really like cakey almost. So this is one of those like hyped products from the brand that I don't feel like is worth it at all. And then my favorite I think is underrated. It's so basic, but it's so affordable and it works. This is the NYX Control Freak Eyebrow Gel. This is just a big tube with a just basic mascara wand. of clear brow gel that holds your brows in place. It has a really nice hold. It's not shiny, it doesn't dry too hard, so it's nice and flexible. And it's kind of boring, but if you just love a clear brow mascara that just sets the brows in place, then I think this one is so good. I believe it's only like $5 too. So this is something I always repurchase and just have in my collection. So for eyes, I actually purchased a NYX eyeshadow palette a long time ago when I first had the idea for this video, but I'm just now doing it. But I didn't like it so much that I already got rid of it. It just had like no pigment. I'll have to put on the screen the one I had. It was just one of the square ones. So in terms of their like eyeshadow palettes, I don't think they're gonna be a good bang for your buck. You're better off just getting like a ColourPop palette for maybe a little bit more. Actually, I feel like the prices might be comparable. The exception though is I have these little single shadows that I think are actually pretty decent. This is a matte white, which I feel like I'm just always missing for palettes, and it's called Whipped Cream. So if you just need a basic matte white, I think this one is actually good. It does the job. It does have a nice amount of pigment. So I'm just putting this on the brow bone and the inner corner just to highlight. So since I don't have an eyeshadow palette to use here, I'm just gonna throw on a neutral brown, and then we'll move into the eyeliner category, which there's a lot to talk about there. Whenever I feel like my under eyes are especially bad, I literally will just embrace it and go in with a dark shadow and just be like, yeah, it's a look now. Eyeliners, I think this category is where the brand really shines in terms of affordability and performance. So let me talk about this line of liners, which you've probably heard me talk about before because I really like them. They're the Epic Wear liner sticks, specifically the shimmer or sort of metallic shades. I absolutely love. They come in so many different fun shades. I'll swatch the ones I have here. But basically these are just like a gel-ish type of eyeliner. They're really pigmented. They stay forever on the waterline, but also if you want to wear them on the lid. This one actually is like a slightly more matte formula, the pink one I have. And yeah, they just come in so many fun shades, so you can really play around and have some fun, like lavender, chartreuse, any color you want. This one I want to mention specifically gold plated, which is that bronzy gold one. If you have blue eyes, this is gorgeous in the waterline. It's so pretty. I also have this rose gold one over here, which if you want something like a little bit more brightening that still has shimmer in it, another one of my favorites. But next for the look, the NYX Epic Ink Liner. This is my favorite pen liner, like basically out of everything that I have. Comes in brown and black, and I think maybe they have a blue shade. This is waterproof. It's like an exact dupe for the KVD tattoo liner. I actually have one here. This one deposits like a little bit more ink when you're using it, but these are half the price and they're basically the same thing. It doesn't come off. They're really easy to use. They're a brush tip, which are my favorite. I just feel like you get more control. This is the brown shade, so I think I'm gonna do like quite a bold liner since we don't have a lot of eyeshadow going on. This brown, by the way, is a nice neutral, like very dark brown. It doesn't have a lot of warmth to it. It's not like a red brown, which I really like. I think it just is like, has the depth of a black, but slightly softer. One thing to be mindful with these is when you're putting the cap back on, make sure to not sort of like get it on the bristles because it will fray them a little bit and you might mess up your liner. Mine's a little frayed, but this one is old, so learn from me and just pay a little bit of attention when you're putting the cap on. But let's go back into these liners because one of my favorite things to do with these is to take it on both the top lash line, the bottom lash line, and a little bit in the waterline. I think we're gonna use this gold plated shade today. So usually I don't bring my liquid liner all the way in, so I will take this instead and just sort of fill in the lash line. These are such a subtle way to add color and twinkle and just make your eyes pop. They're truly some of my favorite products at the drugstore. So this one's a very yellowy gold, but they also have some true bronzes. If you were to just pick a color sort of opposite to your eye color or something that's similar, really make your eyes just stand out. I feel like the skin is looking very dull. I'm gonna put a little bit of cream highlight on just to feel a little bit better about this look, hopefully. This one is Westman Atelier. The foundation was just like, it's really matte and I didn't have a highlight from them. Oh, I forgot to mention this, but this is another brow product It looks so similar to the eyeliner, so I missed it. The Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen. This is a great brow pen. I have the shade Taupe. If you want to draw little individual hairs, it is super fine, even more fine than the eyeliner. So I think this one is definitely worth it. I've never tried like the Urban Decay Brow Blade or anything, but this just, it does the job. So I'm like, I don't feel the need to try that. Eyeliner just fixes everything sometimes, doesn't it? I also want to talk about these faux whites liners that they have. So they're basically just very light liners for the waterline to make your eyes look bigger in different shades. So they have this like baby blue one, hard to tell, but let me give you a little swatch. It's basically a white with a hint of blue, but they have like one with a hint of pink, just to look a little bit more natural than a white. They're a very similar formula to the Epic Wear, where they don't wear off. They're nice and pigmented and smooth. So another great one. For mascara, I just put on this one from Soshi, which I really like. For NYX mascaras, I believe I tried one a long time ago and haven't really tried one since. Don't think they're a brand really known for the mascaras, and probably for good reason. Not saying there might be like a good one in the mix, but I feel like you're just better off going over to Maybelline and picking up one of their mascaras. If you have a NYX mascara that you like, let me know. Maybe I will try it out, but I'm very loyal to my drugstore mascaras, and that one currently is the Maybelline Sky High. Starting with lip liners, they have a couple different types of lip liners, and I definitely want to talk about that. First, let's start with the Suede matte lip liners. These are okay. I have this shade called Sandstorm. I don't find that these are as pigmented. They're a little bit more like blurring, but they just wear off a lot more. But where the brand shines is just the original formula lip liners. These are some of my favorite lip liners. They're just so basic, but they do the job so well. I have a couple favorite shades. The Nude Beige and Nude Truffle. Can't go wrong. Nude Beige is such a great, cool, neutral lip liner if you're struggling to find one at the drugstore. I also have the Nude Pink shade, which is of course just a bit more of a pink version. And then I have a mauve. I want to swatch these in case you're curious, because I feel like the little pencil ends don't always match up. This is another great cooler shade. And then this one at the end is Nude Truffle, which is basically just a slightly darker version of the Nude Beige. Nude Beige is my personal favorite. It's really similar to ColourPop Cool BFF. If you like that one, I think you'll like the Nude Beige from NYX. Thinking I might do the mauve shade just to add a bit of color. For lipsticks, I'm not a huge fan of the lipsticks I've tried from the brand. For me, it's usually down to like the flavoring they have in their lipsticks, but also the formulas. I mean, I've tried like a lot of like the classic like lip lingerie liquid lipstick formulas, the Suede matte lipsticks, and what I notice in general is a lot of them are just drying on my lips and end up looking a little bit crusty. They do have some nice like muted taupe shades, but I haven't tried like a lipstick formula that I absolutely love and want to recommend here. I do have some new lip products, but one of my favorites is This Is Milky Gloss. It comes in baby pink, this really nice taupe shade called Cookies and Milk. They also have fun shades. It's a really creamy gloss. Let me apply it. The shade is really good for like muting any lipstick as well. So it's really creamy, absolutely not sticky. It just gives you a really nice like medium level of pigment, and they're just so comfortable to wear, give you that nice shine. And these I think are really great from the brand. Let me know your favorite NYX lip products so I can try those next. That was the best and worst of NYX Cosmetics. There's truly some amazing products here, but also some not so amazing products. It's definitely one of those hit or miss brands, so I hope you found this really enjoyable and helpful. There's gonna be a video on the screen here that YouTube thinks you're gonna like, and I think we should keep hanging out, so I'll see you over there. Bye.